For more than 2 decades, one man has shaped the destiny of Russia. Loved by some, criticized by others. A former intelligence officer who rose from obscurity to become one of the most powerful and controversial leaders in the world. This is the story of Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Vladimir Putin was born on October 7, 1952 in Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, in the Soviet Union. He grew up in a modest apartment shared with other families. His childhood was shaped by post-World War II hardship and the strict Soviet system. As a young boy, Putin was known to be disciplined, competitive, and determined. He practiced judo, a sport that would later influence his philosophy of control, balance, and strength. By the time he was a teenager, he had one clear goal: to join the KGB, the Soviet Union's powerful intelligence agency. In 1975, after studying law at Leningrad State University, he officially joined the KGB. Putin served as a KGB intelligence officer for 16 years. In the 1980s, he was stationed in Dresden, East Germany. There, he witnessed a historic turning point: the collapse of communist regimes across Eastern Europe. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. 2 years later, in 1991, the Soviet Union itself collapsed. For Putin, this was not just a political event, it was a personal tragedy. He later described the fall of the Soviet Union as the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century. The collapse reshaped his worldview and possibly his future ambitions. After leaving the KGB, Putin entered politics in St. Petersburg. He worked under Mayor Anatoly Sobchak and quickly gained a reputation for efficiency and loyalty. By the mid-1990s, he moved to Moscow and climbed the political ladder inside the Kremlin. In 1998, he became head of the FSB, the successor to the KGB. Just 1 year later, in 1999, President Boris Yeltsin appointed him Prime Minister of Russia. Then, on December 31, 1999, Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned. Vladimir Putin became acting president of Russia. 3 months later, he won the presidential election. At just 47 years old, Putin became the leader of the Russian Federation. When Putin took office, Russia was economically unstable and politically fragmented. He promised stability, order, and national pride. During his early presidency, oil prices increased, strengthening Russia's economy. The government regained control over major industries. Regional governors lost independent power. The state expanded influence over media outlets. Supporters say he restored Russian strength. Critics argue he weakened democratic institutions. Internationally, Putin initially sought cooperation with the West, but tensions gradually grew, especially with NATO expansion and conflicts in neighboring countries. In 2008, after serving 2 consecutive terms, the Constitution prevented him from running again. But he did not disappear from power. In 2008, Dmitry Medvedev became president, while Putin became prime minister. Many observers believed Putin remained the most powerful figure in Russia. In 2012, Putin returns to the presidency. Protests erupted in Moscow, with citizens accusing the government of election manipulation. Despite criticism, Putin secured another term. Then, in 2014, a major geopolitical shift occurred. Following political upheaval in Ukraine, Russia annexed Crimea. The move was celebrated by many Russians, but condemned internationally. Sanctions were imposed. Relations with the West deteriorated sharply. A new era of tension had begun. Over the next decade, Russia became increasingly assertive on the global stage. Allegations of election interference, cyber operations, and military involvement in Syria intensified international scrutiny. In 2020, Russia approved constitutional changes allowing Putin to potentially remain in power until 2036. Then, in February 2022, Russia launched a full-scale military invasion of Ukraine. The conflict triggered global economic sanctions, energy crises, NATO expansion, and one of Europe's largest conflicts since World War II. The war reshaped global politics. Supporters view Putin as defending Russia's security and sovereignty. Critics see the invasion as a violation of international law with devastating humanitarian consequences. The world remains divided. Today, Vladimir Putin remains at the center of global attention. He portrays himself as a defender of traditional values and a challenger to Western dominance. At home, his leadership style emphasizes centralized authority and national unity. Abroad, his decisions continue to influence international alliances, economic systems, and global security. After more than 20 years in power, Putin stands as one of the longest-serving leaders in modern Russian history. From a young boy in post-war Leningrad to a KGB officer to the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin's story is inseparable from the story of modern Russia itself. Whether remembered as a restorer of national strength or a leader who reshaped global tensions, his impact on the 21st century is undeniable. History is still being written, and the world is watching.